All right, this is ER Fantasy, and we're going to tell you the top 5 wide receivers you need to trade for in fantasy football right now.
He could be the next Justin Jefferson. I wouldn't go that high, but
He's the GOAT.
he's pretty good for a rookie wide receiver.
He's
getting
beautiful.
drafted in your late rounds.
And he's very
Pick him
cute.
up.
So then could I just bring in someone that you shouldn't be starting in your lineup?
For sure, Footy. Anytime you want to speak.
Kyler Murray. Number 5, Calvin Ridley. Why, you might ask? Well, he was out on a personal matter, which means that he didn't put up any points despite not being injured. So when he comes back, he's going to be fully healthy and ready to go. Calvin Ridley has a top 1 potential for the rest of the season, and you could get him at a really low price. Trade for Calvin Ridley.
Number 4, Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson. I know he's had a shaky start to the year. I think he's I haven't fact-checked this, but he's wide receiver 55 on the year. This past week, he had 3 receptions for 21 yards, even though Justin Fields had a good game. Over 100 rushing yards. That was pretty good. Regardless, he has not performed up to his third-round pick expectations, but I would say hold out. As you know, or may not know, the NFL trade deadline is approaching, and not the fantasy one, the real NFL trade deadline, and that is where teams can offload players that have expiring contracts. And do you know who has an expiring contract on a team that doesn't even use him? Allen Robinson has an expiring contract, and his team does not use him. So I suggest keeping him until after the trade deadline in the NFL, because you never know what might happen.
Fantasy football receiver you need to trade for, number 3, Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks gets insane amounts of targets on a terrible team. I'm not going to lie, terrible team. But the team's going to be a lot better when Tyrod Taylor comes back. In the first few games that Tyrod Taylor was on the Texans this year when he wasn't injured, Brandon Cooks was top 10 wide receiver. And I think he can continue to be that the rest of the season. Unfortunately, his price might be somewhat high just because he came off a game with 20 points, but that just goes to show you, if he can score 20 points against Jalen Ramsey with Davis Mills as his quarterback, you should be trading for Brandon Cooks right now.
All right, what's up, guys? The number 2 wide receiver you guys should trade for goes by the name of Jerry Jeudy. So Jerry Jeudy, he's on the Broncos. He's their slot wide receiver. At the beginning of the year, he was definitely my breakout candidate. He has the speed for it. If his hands get up to par with his speed and route running, I feel like he could definitely be a great wide receiver 2 flex play on your team. He has, like I said before, he has the speed. He has all the intangibles to be a really good wide receiver. His first week, he had 7 targets, the first week of the fantasy season. And this week, he had 4 catches for around 40 yards in his game back from injury. So now is the perfect time to pick him up.
All right, the overall number 1 fantasy wide receiver you need to trade for right now is Deontay Johnson. This man is a target machine. He racks up 13 targets each game like it's nothing. He'll never drop under 12 points for you, and he has the potential to drop 25 every single week. Deontay Johnson on the Steelers, the GOAT.
And Juju's out.
I really like him. Yeah, Juju's out for the rest of the season, so he's gonna get the slot target. He'll have 10 targets per game, every single game. And what else can you ask for in fantasy football? His value is relatively low for his target share because of the Steelers' offense is but because Big Ben's arm because he can't throw down the field, he has to target Deontay Johnson, and that's how it's going to go. Deontay Johnson, top 5 wide receiver the rest of the year. Trade for him right now while his value is low. Boom.